Gurur Brahma, Gurur Vishnu, Gurur Devo Maheshwaraha, Guru Sakshat Parabrahma, Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha, Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Thank you, Shrikant Dada, for inviting me to speak about this topic of time. Thank you, all of my elder brothers, elder sisters, younger brothers, younger sisters, all of whom have spared their time on this Sunday afternoon or Sunday evening in America, and who has got up very early in the morning in Bharat. Thanks to all of you. What is time? What is time? You see, we all have a sort of common experience of time. There is a common experience of time, which is what we use in terms of all of our mathematics, calculations, dynamics, things like that, right? But then each one of us will experience time differently. In fact, within our experience, we will experience time differently depending upon the state in which our mind is. So if we are happy, then time seems to simply fly. If we are not happy, then time जाता जात नाही म्हणतात ना मराठीत. So it will not go. I mean, it will feel like even 5 minutes will feel like a long, long time. If I'm boring you to death, you will look at the watch. When is he going to finish? If you are enjoying the talk, Are, how come this is done already? So when we are happy, it seems the time moves faster. And when we are not very happy, time seems to go very slowly. When there is no mind, time doesn't go anywhere at all. And this experience each one of us has every night. When we go to sleep, if we are lucky enough, fall asleep very quickly, sleep very well. When we wake up at some point, the first thing we do usually is to look at the watch. And then we realize, oh, this is what the time is right now. And then we decide whether I'm going to get up from the bed or not. Correct? This is what we all do. Most of us do. But how many of you can tell me if they've ever been able to tell how many hours they have slept without having to look at the watch? Can anybody do that? None of us can do it. Why? Because during deep sleep, we have no experience of time because there is no mind. The mind shuts off when we go to sleep. What does this tell us? This tells us that time is a product of the mind. So if our mind is happy, then time flies. If our mind is not happy, then time crawls. And when there is no mind, there is no time. This is very crucial and fundamental. If we understand this, then we will know how to deal with time. Now, if we want to have a good time, see, the trouble is, I told you this equation, right? If we are happy, then time will simply fly away. Correct? Now, most of us, many of us, I would say, if we are asked, how long would you like to live? And we would say we would like to live forever, or we would like to live for a long time. But if we are very happy, then that long life will seem like having passed in a flash. Then what? Then will you be still happy? I mean, you will live for 100 years, but you will have the feeling that I have lived for only 50 years because you have been very happy. And then, as I just told you, if you are happy, then time flies. Is that going to be a good outcome? I don't know. You see, time is actually a product of memory. And I'll tell you how that time works and how you will yourself realize this. I'll give you another example. And this is pure mathematics. Let's say the child is celebrating its first birthday. Okay, 1 year old. The 1 year old child has 1 year's worth of experience. Okay, that child grows up to be 2 year old now. that second year of that child's life is equal to 100% of his previous life. Got it? The child celebrating its second year, that second year is equal to 100% of the life lived before that 1 year. Got it? Second year. In the third year, that chunk, that time duration is equal to, guess what? Only 50% of the previous life lived. So the child has lived for 2 years. Now he lives for one more year. So that one extra year, the third year, is only 50% of the previous life. Now let's come to the fourth year. In the fourth year, that life, it seems like only one third of the total life we have lived in the past. In the fifth year, it seems like one fourth. In the sixth year, it feels like one fifth. And by the time you reach 50, you stop counting. Because the experience goes downhill like this. So it goes downhill and then it goes down like this. Where has this last year gone? Just imagine 2023 just disappeared like this in our experience, right? And then almost 4 months from 2024 have also gone away. Where did this time go? Where did this time go? It went faster because we compared this window of time with all the total previous experience we've had. So time is a product of our mind, time is a product of our memory, and time is also a product of our previous experience. Now let's come to another very fundamental aspect about time. See, so far we've been talking for about 10 minutes, maybe 5 or maybe 7, whatever. Okay. Where are those 7 minutes now at this time? Right now, as I speak, everything I have spoken in the past 7 to 10 minutes has disappeared. Where has it disappeared? It has only disappeared in our memory, or it is lodged in our memory only if you have been paying attention. If you have not been paying attention, then those 7 or 10 minutes worth of whatever words you've heard, all gone. They don't exist anymore. Even if they do exist, they exist as a memory. Okay. Now, imagine you had a dream last night. You may remember it. You won't know how long the dream was. By the way, we don't dream for too long, huh? By the way. Within the dream, there is a different time scale altogether. We will see a lot of things in our dream. They will seem like very long. I mean, there will be a whole episode in our dream. Okay. But that actual duration of that dream is hardly a few seconds. So within a few seconds, we see a lot of things in our dream. If you had that dream last night, any kind of dream, whether a good dream or a bad dream, where is it right now? It's another memory, is it not? Unless you had a memory, you would not have any experience of time. Okay. Now you tell me, how different is memory 1 from memory 2? I tried to explain this to somebody, but they said, no, but these things we have experienced. We know that the dream was a dream. It doesn't exist. Okay, so we don't take the dream seriously. When do we not take the dream seriously? Only when we wake up from that dream. Within the dream is very real, is it not? Within the dream, it feels very, very real. All of us have experienced it. I mean, we've experienced scare, we've experienced increase in our heartbeat, we've experienced sweat because we were so scared. We've also experienced great joy. We've experienced ecstasy in our dreams, have we not? But we knew that it was a dream, or we know it is a dream only when we wake up from the dream. So we have to graduate into a completely different experience to know that that previous experience was not real. Okay. But I told you just now that memory of the waking experience and memory of the dream experience, both are memories. How can they be any different from each other? But when will I know that this dream of the waking experience is a dream? Only when I wake up from this experience. So I have graduated from the dream experience into the waking experience. And when I came into the waking experience, I realized that I was dreaming earlier. Okay. So if I wake up from this dream, if this is indeed a dream, if you don't consider this to be a dream, or if you don't have the suspicion that it might be a dream, then I have no argument with you. If you want to contemplate and if you want to even consider the possibility that this could be dream-like, but when will you know this? You will know this only when you wake up from this dream. No amount of logic, no amount of argument is going to make this waking dream disappear. It's not going to happen. In our waking experience, we are going to feel hungry, we are going to eat, we will have to sleep, we will have to wake up, we will have to go to work, we will have to do everything we do, we will have to put food on our plate, we will have to pay our bills, we'll have to pay our taxes. I just finished paying my taxes. Hmm? So all of these things we will have to do. How can you deny these? We cannot deny these. These things will happen. These things will have to be done. Okay. But if you realize that this is like a dream, then you will not take it as seriously as you don't take your dream seriously. Now you tell me, let's try to wake up from this waking dream. How do we wake up from this waking dream? Let's try to think if there is any other state in which this will seem like a dream. Think. Whenever we leave this body or whenever anybody leaves their body, do they carry anything with them from here? Can I carry any of my possessions from here when I die? Think. So anything that's available for use in this experience is going to remain in this experience. Anything that is available for use in the dream experience is only available in the dream experience. It cannot be transported from one to another. Okay. So if I get a lottery in the dream, when I wake up, am I going to try to search for that lottery ticket and to see if I can get some money from the lottery commission or whatever? No, because I know that that was a dream. In the same manner, whatever possessions I may have right now in this waking experience, all of us are very well fed. All of us are able to pay their bills. All of us have internet. We are much more fortunate than most people in this world. If you put your annual income on the internet, there is a site which says, depending upon what our income level is, you are in what percentile. I can bet you that all of us who are here are in the top 0.5 percentile, which means they are better than 99.5% of the people of the world in terms of money we have. Okay. But then how many of us are able to carry any of this wealth with us when we leave this body? We'll have to leave it here. Correct? So to realize that this is not permanent, it seems to be longer lasting than the dream, of course. The dream lasts only for a short time, a very few seconds. But this waking dream seems to last for a lifetime. Then what after that? What after that? Think. See, to get away from this dream or to realize this is a dream, there is a whole process. There is a whole process. We have to realize who we are. Only then this dream will be proven to be a dream. Otherwise, it will not. So how do we perceive things in our experience? Initially, when we wake up or initially when we come into the world, we perceive things or we feel things through our sense organs. Correct? So when we wake up in the morning, first thing we open our eyes or we hear something, we smell something, we touch something. We don't taste anything yet. Okay? Unless somebody serves a bed tea in your bed for you, then you will taste the tea as well. So what we do is when we wake up, we experience this world in terms of only five sensations. Shabda, Sparsha, Rupa, Rasa, Gandha. Shabda is touch. Shabda is hearing. Sparsha is touch. Rupa is seeing. Rasa is tasting. And Gandha is smelling. All we do is only experience these five sensations at any given time during our waking experience. And to these sensations, we give a name. For example, you are looking at me on your screen, right? All you are experiencing is a shape and some colors within that shape. So, Rupa and Ranga. This you are experiencing through your eyes. You are also experiencing some sounds through your ears. So, these are the two sensations you are having right now. Those two sensations you are comparing with all the sensations you had in the past, and then realizing that, gee, Dada is talking to me. Correct? Because you know me from before. Also, whatever sounds you are hearing, those sounds mean English words, English sentences, and those sentences mean something. This is because you've had the samskar of English. You've learned English as a language in the past, and therefore these sounds mean English words, English sentences, and therefore this entire interpretation of the sounds that you are experiencing is happening in your mind in real time, isn't it? And while I'm talking to you, almost 15 minutes have passed. Where are those 15 minutes? They're not here. I'm going to take a pause here and see if anybody hasn't understood whatever has been told so far. So, anybody who has any questions or comments on whatever I've said so far? I will take on the questions that we have advertised. So,
Dada,
any questions? Yes.
Dada, this is Praveen Katar.
Yes.
I have no questions, but I just wanted to say it is such an amazing talk, and if we can continue and we can have the question answer later, that would be awesome because we don't want you to stop. Just a
Okay.
thought.
No problem. So, what I will do is I will go through the post which everybody has seen. We often hear people say, I don't really have time, or I'm really hard pressed for time. Where does time disappear? Time disappears in our mind as we speak. As we speak. What is time? See, time is a useful parameter on which we can base a lot of our physics and dynamics, thermodynamics, things like that. We can design, all kinds of things. We know what velocity is and things like that. People who have learned basic physics in their school will know how to use time in terms of all kinds of calculations, right? But do we really understand time the way it is? Everybody has, each one of us has, as I said, each one of us has a different perspective of time depending upon how our mind is. Okay. Then how do we experience time? Based on our state of mind, correct? How can we best use the time available to us? Now, this is the most important thing. So, whatever time is available to us, we all have a limited amount of time. About that, everybody is agreeable. We don't have infinite time, correct? What happens is, in the given amount of time, whatever we need to do, if we are able to do it comfortably, we are comfortable, we are not stressed out. If we try to do more than what time we have, then we are stressed out. Oh my God, I don't have time. Oh my God, I have so many things to do, but I cannot finish them all because I don't have enough time. Then I'm stressed out. Why am I stressed out? Because maybe I have just taken too many things on my plate. Maybe, God forbid, most of us are not in a situation where they don't have any time at the end of the day, just struggling to try to put food on the table. We are all fortunate that our basic needs are met. So people whose basic needs are not met, most of the people will spend their time trying to fulfill their basic needs. And basic needs are, you know, food, clothing, and shelter. Those are the basic needs, right? Plus, we all are inquisitive. We all want to learn. We all want to know. So, therefore, education should be available to all of us. And the fifth thing is, all of us want to be healthy at all times, right? So, healthy food, if it is available in adequate quantity, okay? If we have healthy food available in plenty of quantity, in excessive quantity, then we may indulge and we may actually ruin ourselves. Even if you have, you know, we run a program called Sattva. Sattva is basically a program where we learn how diet purification can purify our body first, then lead to mind purification, and finally realizing who we are. That's the program we run, right? So even if sattvic food is available to us and we consume it at the wrong time, in the wrong quantity, in the wrong state of mind, it will not yield the results we are looking for. Okay. So if we live a certain lifestyle, then our mind can be clear enough. And in that clear mind, some of the things we are contemplating can be understood well. We will be encouraged to, we will be inspired to do the things, the right things that we should do, so that we will live well physically, mentally, and spiritually, and then realize who we are. That would be the best way to utilize time. If we decide what things are really necessary, if we only pursue those things that are really necessary, once we have pursued those things, once we have fulfilled our basic needs, if we refrain from pursuing those things that are going to help us fulfill our desires, if we refrain from that, the shlok in Gita I like the best. Even if we contemplate on this one shlok, understand its meaning, and live accordingly. Most of the things I have tried to explain to you will be clear to you from within. Nobody will need to explain those things to you. The shlok is Yuktahara viharasya yuktacheshtasya karmasu yuktaswapnavabodhasya yogo bhavati dukkha. Yukta ahar means the things that we take into our system should be proper. Yukta ahar. Yukta vihar means our activities in the world, our karma, our behavior, our speech has to be proper. Yukta vihar. Yukta cheshtasya means our endeavor. Our endeavor has to be yukta, proper. Yukta cheshtasya karmasu. All the karma we do should be yukta, means proper. If we live like this, then yogo bhavati dukkha. If we live in this yogic manner, this whole platform is called Shri Yoga. So if we learn these fundamental things, then dukkha means dukkha will disappear. There will be no more sorrow. The things that give us pain will happen. So if I have not eaten all day long, then towards the end of the day or by the end of the day, I may feel very hungry. Okay, so that pain of hunger will be there. So then what should I do? To relieve the pain of hunger, the fix is very easy: eat, isn't it? So if you feel hungry, you should eat. If you don't feel hungry, you should not eat. That's the corollary. That is the Yukta Ahar. Yukta Vihar is when I behave in the world, when I do anything in the world, I should do those things, only those things, which I would like other people to, doing to me. So I should do unto others what I would like others to do unto me. So the corollary is I should not do unto others what I would not want others to do unto me. So treat people well because you would like to be treated well. Very simple. Yuktahar yukta vihar. Yukta cheshtasya karmasu. Your effort also should be yukta in the sense, see, I understand my capacity to be, see, if my capacity is to lift 10 kilos of weight, okay, I'm just giving you an example, mathematics. I know I can lift 10 kilos of weight. I lift it confidently without any problem. That is called self confidence. Okay. Now, if I lift anything less than that, it's going to be very easy for me. But I know my capacity is 10, but I claim my capacity is 20 and I start lifting 20 and I sit down. Then that would be ego or arrogance. Right? My grandfather used to give me this example. Vinay, Atmavishwas, and Ahankar. So, if you easily do whatever you claim to do, but don't brag about it, that is Vinay. Vinay means humility. If you lift what you say you can lift, it is called Atmavishwas or self confidence. But if you claim that you can lift 20 and when you try to lift it, you sit down, and that is called Ahankar or arrogance. So, this is what he used to explain to me as. So, in fact, a lot of times, some of my family members will say that, you can do so many things, but people don't know about it. You don't even tell people half the things you can do. I said, if it is required to be told, I'm happy to tell them. So if you are applying for a grant or applying for a project or applying for a job, you will write all the things, the best of the things you can do. But you should be able to back all of those things up with ability, isn't it? If not, then it will be arrogance. That's what unfortunately brings people down. People will make tall claims and they will not be able to fulfill those claims. So the best way is to not claim. The other day, somebody asked me that you should not be talking about Upanishads and Vedanta and Gita and things like that. I said, thank you for letting me know. I claim to be a student of all these things. I don't claim to be a scholar, much less a teacher. No, 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 no. I try to be a student and I try to implement some of these things in my life to the best of my ability. And I'm not perfect. I'm not perfect. So I'm doing it to the best of my ability and I'm enjoying my experience. And I'm only sharing with you my experience. Out of this, I'm not insisting that you should take all of it. No, you should take only that suits you. You try to do whatever you can. So out of all the fruits of this tree, you pick the lowest hanging fruit. Try to taste it and see if it tastes good to you. If you say that even this I cannot do, then yes, Archana, Archie, तुला काही बोलायचं का? Okay, so
No, sorry, I don't know why it became unmute. I'm sorry.
okay, no problem. So this is if I live like this, because ultimately, after all this contemplation, all this practice, what do I want to do at the end of the day? Bottom line is I want to be happy and peaceful. That's all I want to do. So if I want to do a lot of things, if I want to build a huge company, if I want to be a billionaire, why do I want to do that? I want to be happy. Now, after having become a billionaire, I want to give away most of my wealth or I want to start an NGO and I want to help other people. Why do I want to do that? Because I want to be happy. Is there anybody here who is pursuing anything to become unhappy deliberately? Not one of us. Nobody. Everybody is always wanting to be happy and peaceful and in a state of equilibrium. That is all we want to do. The trouble is when this whole endeavor, this whole activity, this whole pravrutti is based on something in this phenomenal world, it is not going to last. Because the phenomenal world is subject to change every moment. So, whatever we do in this world is going to change. considering that, knowing that fully well, if we act in the world, if we perform in the world, and expect only what the world is capable of providing, not more than that, then we will be happy. Then we will be content. Then we'll be satisfied. Then we'll be in equilibrium. This equanimity of our mind at all times is the highest experience of human life. If we can achieve that, that would be awesome. Now, how can we achieve that? We can achieve that through many different things, right? So when we are doing things in the beginning, we do things because we want to gain something out of it and we want to be happy ourselves. We want to please ourselves. We want to seek pleasure, or we seek pleasure. We want to experience pleasure. So that is the least of everything that we do. So if I'm hungry, I want to eat, and I want to eat something tasty also. I want to please myself. I want to please my palate, right? So that's the first activity we do. But then we realize that, it's not going to last too long. Then we try to seek something higher. So when we try to seek something higher, we try to do something for others. When we do something for others, then that joy of having done something for others will last slightly longer, right? But then there is an end to it. Whenever I die, then what? I must have made a lot of money, or I would have made a lot of name, fame, fortune. I would have become the king of the country or king of the whole world. Then after that, when I die, then what? So that's not going to last either. The other trouble is, one other point I wanted to make before I finish is when we try to get something more than what we want or what we need. I'm sorry. When we try to get something more than what we need, then it will leave slightly less for others to have what they need. See, we've learned, I'm an environmental scientist, and most of us, general knowledge is that our earth is a limited resource. It's not an unlimited resource. At one point, it may have seemed like an unlimited resource, but it is not. The earth is a limited resource, and many things have reached their limits. So they call it peak something, like, whether we have reached peak oil or not, I don't know. But we have reached peak, I think phosphorus we have reached, peak phosphorus. So whatever supply of phosphorus we can get from this planet, we've almost reached the peak. But phosphorus is an essential nutrient. We all need to have phosphorus. And I did my PhD on phosphorus, so that's why I can say that with some degree of confidence that we've come quite close to it. If not, we have reached it. Then what happens is, to mine more phosphorus from the earth, it takes more effort than it is worth. In the sense, whatever phosphorus we get from the earth, we'll have to purify it before we can use it. So my research during my PhD was based on how we can recover phosphorus, how we can remove phosphorus from water before letting it go into the environment. And now the research or the practice is moving towards how can we recover the little bit of phosphorus that we have in the water before throwing it away, so that that phosphorus can be utilized for something else, as a fertilizer, for example, because we cannot mine phosphorus anymore, or it is much more difficult to mine phosphorus than to recover somehow. See, everything works in terms of economics, right? So if it is cheaper to recover phosphorus from water, I would do that rather than mine, isn't it? Same thing is true with even our household budget. Whatever is the least expensive option, that's what we will choose for the quality that we have decided in the beginning, of course. Correct. So we decide that I want to have a certain quality of a certain thing, and then I will look for what's the best deal or where can I get it for the least amount of money. That's what we do, our own household economic analysis. So the same thing happens at the industrial scale also, isn't it? So we are not unlimited. Now let's just try to understand this from a simple example. If there are 100 mangoes, I love mangoes, and 100 people, okay, each one should have one mango, and then it will be an equitable distribution of the resource. If one of the people wants more than one, then all the rest will get, or somebody will get less than one, is it not? So when we try to consume more than our need from the planet, then we potentially deprive somebody else of being able to pursue that. To live in this manner, where we consciously live at the need level and not deprive anybody else of their pursuit of their own needs. This is called dharma. This is called proper behavior between human beings. Dharma does not mean religion at all. Religion is something totally different. Dharma means something that holds all of us together. If we hold on to that, then we will hold dharma and dharma will hold us. So in Sanskrit they say dharma rakshati rakshitha. So the one who protects the dharma, their protection will be done by the dharma. So if we can live like this, that would be great. Living like this consciously, living like this in awareness is the ultimate experience of human life. I wish and pray all of us are able to live in this awareness at all times and be happy. Thank you. So Praveen and anybody else, if you would like to comment or ask any questions, would be great. Awesome. I hope this was good and understood well and time well spent. What is the best use of our time? The best use of our time is to try to go down deep into what the true source of the eternal source of happiness is and stay there. That is the best use of our time. Oh ho ho, Chandrasekhar Mayani, what is Trikaladarshi? Trikaladarshi, the way the word sounds, is someone who can see. Trikal means Bhutkal, Vartaman Kal, and Bhavishyakal. So past, present, and future. Who is Trikaldarshi? You are that. Tattvamasi. Are you not the one who is able to experience or think of your past? Are you not the one who is experiencing the present right now? Are you not the one who is imagining the future? You are that. So Trikaladarshi is the one who is witnessing all three times, all three tenses, I would say. If you realize that you can only have a memory of the past and you can only imagine the future, you cannot really experience the past other than in the present. You cannot experience the future at all other than imagining it in the present. If you realize this, then you are a Trikaldarshi. All of us can be that if we can learn how to live in the present moment. Incidentally, that present moment itself is imaginary. How? I will tell you. See, if you look at the present moment, everything before the present moment is called the past, right? And everything beyond the present moment will be the future, correct? So present moment is at the intersection of past and future. So if you imagine the entire past and entire future, in the middle of that or at the interface of that past and future is the present. So where is this blessed present moment? It's only imaginary, is it not? It's just the interface between the past and the future. It has, say, if you imagine a plane has length, width, but no thickness. That is a plane. What is a point or what is a line? A line is something that has length but no width or no breadth. Does anything like this ever exist? Can anything like this ever exist? If you can catch that present moment, or if you live in that present moment, which means that Don't go too far back into the past. Don't go too far into the future. Whatever you have experienced in the past, learn from it. Live your life right now with the awareness of all the mistakes you might have made or I might have made. I should talk about myself, not about you. If I live in the awareness of the mistakes I have made in the past and try not to make them in the present, then the future will take care of itself. So if I do the right things right now, yuktahara viharasya yukta cheshtasya karmasu yukta swapna avabodhasya yogo bhavati dukkha. We didn't talk about the yukta swapna and avabodh. Yukta swapna means my dream is yukta or good. How? Only if I live my waking experience properly. If I live properly in my waking experience, then my dream will also be good. That's how it is. Great. Thank you, Shekhar Dada, for your question. I think Vidya is wanting to ask a question. Are you? Do you want to ask a question, Vidya? Or you want to say something? Give us your comment.
Oh no, I was just scratching. I thought you thought I was raising my hand, but no.
No, no. Okay. All
Thank
right.
you for talk.
Anyone else? No, if you want to say something, Vidya, I don't want to stop you, please.
No, I was not going to say anything, but
Okay.
as you said, like, where is this present? So I was just, that thought came to me that the present is just this breath, right? Because we cannot breathe for the past and we cannot breathe for the future.
You have to breathe for right now.
You
Yes,
have to breathe
absolutely.
for this. So your breath, your present is this breath. That's all. I mean, next moment has a million different possibilities. We don't know what's going to happen next moment. So obviously we cannot imagine that because our imagination is very limited. And
Correct.
what happens is actually completely blows us out. So
So beautiful. Only a yoga teacher can say like this. Thank you. Okay, I have a hand here from Ragini. Is that
Yes.
Ragini's video? But I think this is Ragini's.
I'm her husband. My
Oh,
name
great.
is. Yeah,
I'm
how are you?
Ragini.
Good
Thank you
evening. Good
so
evening.
much.
Good
Yeah,
evening, doctor. And it was very nice hearing a lot of things said by you.
thank you.
And I had a few thoughts of sharing with what you have said. And I
Please,
think
thank you.
a lot of things what we understand and see life in perspective, past, present, or future, are an amalgamation of memories. And we like to, most of us like to see good memories, and that we relive our childhood back, we relive our parents, my grandparents, or whatever. And life has been structured, according to me, by nature. What I think somebody sometimes said, the sun rises this time and sun sets this time, and in darkness we can't work. So let's structure something what we can do in the bright light. And then one thing led to the other, and we started, if you sleep too much, you say you're a useless fellow, you're wasting your time. Thoughts were kept on, you're a bad boy, you're a bad student, there's so many. I think a lot of us have dwelled a lot on negativities of making what we are. And that's why dreams come which are shattering sometimes, of fear. See, fear installation has become one major cause in today's world. Oh, if you do this, you waste water, tomorrow you will be die out of thirst. So we not say, no, let's work to conserve. We are not building a society of trying to, as you rightly said, an equal spread makes everybody calm, passionate. That's why I used to go with my father to Kolhapur and interiors, Ratnagiri. People were so calm, happy. They used to meet you with joy. Their houses are simple. And say, Aj kai ghenar tumi? Shrikhand puri ghenar ka? And then the grandmother will make. But that is lost today. Everything is, who's coming to my house? Accordingly, I will set up. And value systems have changed according, and we blame time and we have nothing. But greed has taken over. So one of the great things we are enjoying today is talking to renowned people like you who are sharing this original culture back, that we should come back to our core values of what we call Ram Rajya. Today, everybody talks about Ram Rajya, but nobody wants to really see that, can I be Maryada Purushottam? Can I be a valued person like what he used to be? He left his home, left his wealth. So I think we have to all self-analyze ourselves. What I'm getting now, hearing you, go into contemplation where I can become a better person, not in remorse. I still have time, is I have no control over that. At least my breath, okay, the prana I'm doing every day now with Guruji. But what I can do today, let me quantify to the maximum benefit of anybody and everybody. Be good from heart, not to propagate myself. Oh, I did so much. I gave so much to charity, and that is not the dharma. Is what you talk. You should say, well, it's not mine. What am I trying to boast that I'm giving to somebody? And I think we should have more talk with you, and slowly expand our vision. It's very important to get connected with red people like you. Unfortunately, I would love to. I've not been exposed to that much. I don't blame anybody. But context like this and series like this is a big, big benefit for
Thank you
everybody.
so much. That's so
Wonderful.
nice of you. I mean, this was all great. Are you a part of our WhatsApp group and the Shri Yoga
I've just
program?
got into it
Yes.
thanks to Guruji, and I do the yoga part of it, but I would like to be an active participant in.
Okay, so
Uh,
since you understand Marathi, we
a little
contemplate.
bit. I'm a South Tamilian.
That's okay, but you spoke Marathi just now. So we have a Gita contemplation session every Tuesday and Friday, 11 a.m. East Coast time.
Okay.
So if you can join that, some of the people here join that regularly. And we try to learn the Gita. We try to learn about our own self
Mm-hmm.
from the Gita. So Gita, all this contemplation, all this study is really like looking at our own selves in the mirror. So we
Right.
try to learn from that. So you're most welcome to join. I'll be happy to share the
Surely.
link with you.
Wonderful.
We live
That's
in
great.
Atlanta, so we are on the East
East Coast,
Coast side.
so fantastic.
Surely.
I think there
Surely.
was one other question by Shekhar Dada I should take. He said, can we consider time without considering space? The time-space continuum? So, oh wow. Priyanka says, I don't think there is any time without space. Reference is must to experience time. Okay. One other thing I wanted to talk about. I wanted to talk about what is a second. The smallest unit of time we consider in our calculations is 1 second, right? We say 1 second. Now, why is it called a second? So if you call something to be a second, then there has to be a first, is it not? So what is that first? I actually looked it up. I said, how did I look it up? Of course, ChatGPT. You ask, what is time? Why is a second called a second? So then it gave me some answer, which I forgot. But then I said, why is it called second? Then what is the first? That was my follow-up question. Okay. So the follow-up question said that the second is 1 divided by 86,400 unit. They say that in Babylon, they used to count time like this. And in the Babylonian culture, they used to say that one day, which is the average time, the sun is in the sky, or the average time the earth takes to rotate around itself on its own axis. That duration was divided by 86,400 times, and then whatever came was 1 second. First they divided that into, I don't know how they came up with the number 24 hours and 60 seconds and 60 minutes and all those things. I don't know if there is a reference for Babylonians counting time in this manner, but we see a reference for counting time in Vedic culture as well as in Jyotish, how we have been counting time. Okay. But then again, that time is useful for doing things in the world. The concept of space also is useful for doing things in the world. But time and space are both relative. They are applicable only in the relative world, only in our waking experience. But they have no significance in our true nature, in our essential nature, which is pure awareness. In that, these two things don't exist. So if there is a reference, means there is something in relation to something, right? So time in relation to something. So that second is actually related to me, the first. I am the first. Unless I am there, there is no second. So that would be the way I would explain the second. The second is because I exist. If I don't exist, then there is no second. And when I realize that the true me, the essential me, is beyond that, because I am the one who's experiencing the past, the present, and the future. And in my experience, this whole phenomenal world is simply passing. I am not going anywhere. My awareness remains constant, steady, without any change, without any modification, without any beginning, without any end. That I am. If I realize that, if I can realize that with all the practices I do, that would be the ultimate experience of human life. And I would encourage all of you to contemplate and see if we can get there. It would be great. Is love beyond time and space? Love has to be with somebody, right? Don't you have to have another one to love? Is that the love you're talking about of the other? Or are you talking about being in love, just being in love, regardless of the other? If we are,
Dada, I
yeah, go ahead, Praveen.
Dada, I Dada, I think Shekhar Dada is talking about love in the sense of bliss or anand. I think space time context मध्ये.
Shekhar Dada, would you like to expand on this a bit?
Yes, Praveen was correct when he said that it's not with the person. It is beyond that.
It's beyond that. So if we can realize our own nature as beyond that, our essential nature as beyond that, then in this relative world, what will manifest is only love. Because there will be no, there will be an experience of the other, but there is an awareness that this other is only my own extension. That's the experience I will have from within. And therefore, I cannot hate myself, right? So I will not cut my own finger. So in the same way, if I consider this entire world around me, everybody in that world, as only an extension of my own self, then I will not hurt that world. I will only be in love with that world. So being in love is a beautiful experience. So if I realize who I am, then yes, I will be in love at all times. So thank you, Praveen, for helping me out. Any other comments or questions?
So see, you said that I'll not cut myself, or because we don't want to harm ourselves, or nobody wants to pursue unhappiness. But then I think that comes from self, right? Because you think so, so you are saying it in general way. But there are people who actually harm themselves. I mean, people actually get joy out of cutting themselves. And we might consider it as something perversion, or oh, then we say, no, no, that's not right. Then we need to treat that person. But for that person, that is the reality. That for them, that is where their joy is coming from, even though howsoever fleeting that joy is, or it may not be permanent, but that people like that exist. So we often always think of sattva is the right property, but the equally tamas is also there and rajas is also there, and there is a reason for all of those gunas to exist.
Absolutely. So unless we have a little bit of tamas, we
Right,
will not be able to fall asleep. So tamas
right,
is also important.
exactly.
Rajas is also important because you cannot keep sleeping all the time and you cannot be contemplating all the time. So you'll have to do something to put food on your plate. So Rajas is also important. As long as Rajas is motivated by Sattva,
Mhm.
that Rajas is good. Any rajas that helps us go beyond all three gunas, that rajas is good. Rajas has to be limited or curbed. So we have to limit our rajasic activity in certain bounds. That limit is called dharma. So if we know what the boundaries are of that rajas, that is great. If we can bind our rajas in dharma, in sattva, that will be great. And tamas, use it only to the extent it is necessary. See, the solid food we eat is also, solid. We need our house to be built of solid material that is basically inert material, right? And even when we install the vigraha in a temple, initially until there is prana pratishtha, that whole vigraha is only a stone, is it not? But we put our own pran, our own energy, our own sattva in that vigraha, and then it becomes a deity for us. Then we worship it. So that's how it is. So anyway, these are all, you don't ask me too much theory, okay? If I know something through experience, or if I have done some contemplation on it, and if it has made sense to me, only then I can tell you. If you ask me any and all questions, under the sky, I will not know all the answers. I don't claim to. As I said, I'm only a student. I try to share with you all of my experience. I try to share with you my joy based on whatever little I have read, whatever little I have understood, and whatever little I have tried to practice. That's all I can share. One thing is sure, I have nothing but love in my heart about everybody. Even if you don't like me, even if you want to look down upon me, even if you hate me, it's okay. That hate will hurt you, not me. Okay? I I always tell people, if somebody says, sorry, Dada, I could not do this, I say to them, Dada still loves you. That's what happens. There was one other comment I didn't really read while I was talking. Dada, can we discuss time without taking into account space? We already talked about Priyanka. You cannot do it without is love beyond time and space. That is done. Akshada, well, it is a part of feeling or experience. Time is what we can refer whenever we talk about experience. Akshada, you want to say something more about this? मला नहीं समझ. Would you like to expand on this? Would be lovely.
Well, I was not, yeah, if we talk about our love or our feel, it is a part of feeling which I felt. So whenever we feel anything and whenever we experience anything, at that time when we relish those memories, we can say that, okay, this is what I felt. And this is something which is, I have in my mind forever. So this is what I was thinking about.
Okay, so being in love or being loved, okay, and having the memory of that experience is great. Okay.
Mm.
In fact, Swami Chinmayananda used to say that to love and to be loved by everyone is the highest experience of human life. Now, this is not going to happen. Huh? By the way, I can be in love with anybody and everybody, okay? But then I cannot compel everybody else to be in love with me the way I am in love with them. In fact, I should not even attempt that or expect that. If I expect everybody is going to be in love with me the way I am in love with them, it will be foolishness, right? And
True.
then because of that expectation, I will become unhappy. Oh, I have so much love for you, but you don't have that much love for me. Then, I'm not happy.
Yeah.
That's not true love. True love is an experience from within. So my being in love with you makes me happy, but it should be unconditional. It should not be based on the condition that you should have the same kind of love for me. Not like that. No. I should be in love with you because that is an experience good for me. That's a pleasant experience for me. So being in love is a very pleasant experience. So being in love with everybody without any expectation would be a great experience. See, that is why the one who is in love with the entire humanity is called a saint, is it not?
Yeah.
Don't be under the wrong impression that I'm claiming to be a saint. I'm not. I'm just your elder brother.
I know. I understand that. And as you said, that the hurt, the feeling of hurt ourselves. We get hurt all by ourselves, and not that other person about whom we are feeling have this feeling.
Mhm.
That is not that person is not at all affected. So
Correct.
it's all about how we
How
think
we
and how
experience it.
we experience it.
In fact, all of our experience is our own experience. We experience life in a unique manner. Your experience of life is only yours, nobody else's. My experience of life is only mine, nobody else's. And I have no other experience. So we experience life ourselves, nothing else.
True.
Didi, you've been making so many comments. I would much rather you say these things. Hard for
No,
me to read.
it's
I'm not well
yeah,
read,
that's
I'm well heard. I like to hear rather than read. So why don't you say something?
no, just I'm saying that see, if I say I'm being in love, means there is a choice. Like I can be anything. Being can be anything. There are multiple choices. And that's why we do the mistake of being depressed or being hateful or whatever it is. But if we consider ourselves, if we know that we are being of love, there is no other choice, and that's why we feel so bad if we create any other choice other than love. So
Beautiful,
that's more appropriate, I suppose.
beautifully said, Sai, beautifully said. And I would just like to add, when we say, uh, you know, uh, when you use the word I, that time that ego comes into the play. So now, for example, if a person is doing an act with so much awareness that that person loses track of time and space where he is doing it and at what point of time he's just so immersed in that activity, he or she, then that person is being, and which also would mean that he, and that itself I think is a manifestation of love, because if you were to ask this person again at a later point, can you explain what when you are completely immersed, he will say it was a lovely experience because he was so much immersed into it. So he was being, he was so aware. And I believe that awareness without the I is really that situation of being oblivious to time and space.
Yes. So if we, or if I lose my sense of identity or my sense of separateness or my sense of limitedness, my sense of being a separate self, my being of being separate from you or apart from you, if I lose that or whenever I lose that, whether it happens while I'm doing something, whether it happens while I'm in meditation, or whether I'm in sleep, it will give me that same experience. What happens in sleep is we do experience that bliss, but the experience is in unawareness. We experience it in unawareness. That is what happens. So even though we experience that bliss of our own true self, we are not aware of it because we are asleep. But that lingers on for a while after we wake up. So that's why we know that yes, I have had good sleep. I enjoyed that, right? But how can the waker say that he was asleep? The waker was not asleep. The waker was not even in the deep sleep. There was something else that is saying that I was very blissful during my sleep. So that awareness, that true awareness, that is our true self. So if we can remain in that awareness, that would be great. Awesome. Okay, Shrikant Dada, shall we call it a day? Thank you so much for inviting me once again. It's been a lovely evening.
Wonderful, wonderful session. And again, you can post your questions in the Yogic Neuroscience group, and then I'm sure there'll be more discussion in that group.
Great. Thank you, everyone. I wish all of you a lovely evening. Be in love, be in the present moment, and always be happy. I'll say a brief prayer before we end. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om. Shri Guru Bhyo Namaha. Hari Om. Namaste.